Jerry Palm. Okay, first things first. Which fan base do you hate the most now?
Here we go.
Which one do I hate the most?
Yeah, right
it's
now.
Really more about who hates.
Because they're driving
I'm an
you
equal
crazy.
opportunity hater. I hate all of them, including my own.
Which one is driving you the most crazy right now? Every time you update your bracket, they're in your mentions and they make you go, God, I hate this team.
North Carolina. No, I don't hate the team. I don't hate the team, and I don't even hate the fans. But they're the ones after me the most. Still, North Carolina, even after they beat Duke, it's still, yeah, they're not happy. Rutgers a little bit too still, but North Carolina is leading at the moment. It varies from day to day, week to week.
What's their gripe? They think they have 6 quadrant 1 wins instead of just 2.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of we're a blue blood, and in their defense, if you have the kind of season that they've had in the ACC with the record that they have in the league, especially, you're way up the bracket. So it's kind of a shock to the whole league system that you've got one good team and that everybody else is at best mediocre. And, so they're not used to, we're the second place team in the ACC or we're the third place team in the ACC. How can we not be way up in the bracket? Well, because it's Duke and the 14 Dwarfs. I mean, it's just a mass. I can't even think of a league, a major conference where the gap between number 1 and everyone else has ever been this big. I mean, like the Pac-12 has got a similar gap, but it's 3 teams to the rest of the league. This is just one team to the whole rest of the league. And it actually hurts Duke because I don't think Duke could be a number 1 seed, because how do they resume build in their own league? They can't. They beat Gonzaga, and that's great, of course, and they beat Kentucky outside the league. But who are they beating in the league? Nobody. But they've taken, 3 so-so to bad losses, or actually, 3. So, what do you do? Or it's 4, actually. So how do they resume build? How does Duke resume build? So I don't know. I don't think Duke can be a 1, even though they could win the national championship. I mean, they're good enough to do that. But it's just been, I don't know. Everybody I've ever talked to about this year, no matter how old they are, says this is the worst ACC they've ever seen. Wouldn't you agree?
It's just as uninspiring as it's ever been, in my opinion. For sure. All right, let me ask you.
The only thing I heard there is North Carolina is a dwarf.
I mean,
this year.
Oh.
Let's get that into a pull quote.
Two things. Okay. Since we're on ACC, real quick on this. Rapid fire. Notre Dame in no matter what, yes or no?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame's in.
North Carolina in no matter what, yes or no?
I would say it would behoove North Carolina not to take a bad loss, but they might get in anyway, even if they do.
I think, Miami in no matter what, yes or no?
Interesting. I think Miami, Wake Forest, it's definitely an elimination game for Wake Forest if it happens. It might be an elimination game for Miami as well. But yeah, those 2 are definitely skirting trouble. Wake Forest just needs to beat somebody. They've got a couple of decent home wins, but they need to show that they can play away from home.
Wake Forest has a absolute must win against Boston College on Wednesday. If you're watching live on YouTube, continue to comment, smash the whole deal. We got Palm here. And then since we're talking bubble ACC, Virginia Tech need to make the ACC tournament game at minimum, championship game, at minimum to get in that convo, Jerry?
I'm not even thinking about Virginia Tech. I don't have them on my bubble.
You just went Don Draper on the Hokies. I don't even think about you.
But remember on a recent podcast, I said I don't understand why some people have them as close to the bubble as they do, because their resume is
because of their net ranking, Gary. People look at the net and they take that as gospel, and it's not. If you're looking at the heavily the rankings that are heavily influenced by margin of victory, like Ken Pom and Sagarin and the net, and that's all you're going on. When the committee's a results-based process, margin of victory doesn't really mean that much to them. Right. So if you're basing everything on those rankings, you're going to probably be disappointed, because when the committee's looking at a resume and then they're looking at these metrics and the metrics don't match the resume, they don't question the resume. They question the metrics. Why are these different? What are we missing here? Well, the answer is almost always margin of victory, because the resume isn't really showing you. I mean, they'll show you the score, but they don't really care that much about margin of victory. They just want to see who you beat and who beat you. But the metrics are especially those three, and I guess BPI as well, are really heavily influenced by margin of victory, or they'll call it net efficiency, which is margin of victory measured by points per possession instead of points per game.
Well, this is why, and I heard you make this point on CBS Sports HQ, Houston might end up with a seed lower than its net ranking.
Yeah. They might have a higher number next to their name in the bracket than they do in the net. And that's, they're the number 5 team in the net as of this morning. I believe it's still number 5, but their best win and their only win over a team that might make the bracket is the home win over SMU. They had a quad 1 win. I think Oklahoma State's probably still quad 1. Neutral. I think that was neutral. No, that was at Oklahoma State. So that's a quad 1 win, but Oklahoma State's not a tournament team. Even if they were eligible, they would not be a tournament team. And then they beat Oregon, and they've got a bunch of quad 2 wins, and they have nothing even remotely resembling a bad loss, which is why they're still a top half of the bracket team. But there's nothing on Houston's resume that says this is one of the 5 best teams in the country, but the margin of victory metrics in particular love them.
All right, let's go big picture here. I want to ask you if you could see this situation playing out, because we went on HQ together on Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. Lovely appearance. Gosh, that you're just emanating energy in that studio, Jerry. Emanating it. Okay. You said Gonzaga pretty much going to be the number 1 overall seed. My question for you, and for again, this is for the audience purposes, because I know fans think about this. Right now, Baylor, yes or no, Baylor is a lock as a 1 seed no matter what happens?
No.
Not a lock. Okay, so with that in mind, if Baylor were to get 3 more quad 1 wins and have 14 quad 1 wins to Gonzaga's 10, you're saying it's not possible at all that Baylor could leapfrog Gonzaga for the number 1 overall seed if it won the Big 12 tournament and got 3 quad 1 wins in the process?
I don't think so. No, I think it's still got to be Gonzaga.
Okay, and your reasoning for that would be
the way they dominated this season.
Okay, and Gonzaga has 3 losses compared to would the loss
would it be 6 for Baylor? I haven't got it in front of me. I think it's 6.
With Baylor, it would be 5.
5. Okay, so you're talking about winning the
Big 12 tournament and then beat Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Kansas for 3 more quad 1 wins. Right, Kansas obviously in the conversation.
Pretty good wins.
I'm just wondering. I can see a situation where the committee might do it, also because Gonzaga didn't play 1 road game in non-conference, and if they're trying to truly split things, Baylor's going to have better road neutrals than Gonzaga overall.
That's true.
I think that might be the only way that could happen, but I wouldn't think any other team could possibly leapfrog Gonzaga for number 1 overall.
Yeah, no, definitely not. The way I look at it, there's 6, maybe 7 teams that can be a 1. The SEC champion, if it's Auburn or Kentucky, is a 1. The Big 12 champion, if it's Baylor or Kansas, is a 1. And it's possible the other one could be a 1 if they play each other. The best case scenario for that is Kansas beating Baylor for the title. They can still both be 1s. Arizona, Gonzaga, of course. And if there's abject chaos in these major conference tournaments and Purdue wins the Big 10 beating Wisconsin and Illinois, maybe they could crawl onto the top of the bracket, but I wouldn't bet on it. That's it. That's the entire list of teams that could be 1 seeds.